in place. Qué weird thought. If only I was a furious rocker, a trendy painter, a cutting-edge comedian, maybe, not really. Performance and comedy don't mix very well. The result is a joke that no one understands. Pero if only I had had the guts to join the Zapatistas for good, the guts to fight the border patrol in situ with my bare hands, the guts to tell my family I am truly sorry for all the pain my sudden departure caused them 25 years ago when I was young and handsome and still had no audience whatsoever. But I was a coward. I ended up making a 30-year-long performance piece to justify my original departure, El Pecado Original. But if only I had never left in the first place, what would have become of my life? It would be considerably simpler. I'd be less loco, perhaps, less angry, perhaps less Chicano. Awkward phrase, insensitive, delete. Pero if only I didn't have to worry about my audience, entertaining my audience with Aztec glam, making art to pay my bills, to avoid prison, deportation, and mental hospitals, to justify intellectually my antisocial tendencies. If only I didn't have to perform to exercise my freedoms, for I could do it every day, everywhere. But that's the subject matter of an essay, not a performance. Besides, you did not come here today to witness my mind at work. Damas y caballeros, I've got 45 scars accounted for, half of them produced by art, and this is not a metaphor. I just can't get disability insurance. My artistic obsession has led me to carry out some flagrantly stupid acts of transgression, including living inside a cage as a Mexican Frankenstein, crucifying myself as a mariachi to protest immigration policy, crashing Ellis Island and the Met as El Mad Mex being led on a leash by a gorgeous Spanish dominatrix. I mean, you want me to be more specific than, say, drinking Mr. Clean to exorcise my colonial demons, handing a dagger to an audience member and offering her my abdomen. Here, my colonized body, I said. My solar plexus, your moon-like madness, I said. And she went for it, inflicting on me my 45th scar right here on my soul. She was only 20, Boricua, and did not know the difference between performance, rock and roll, and street life. Bad phrase. Delete Gomez-Pena. Script change. Memory number 1280. You know, for years I have been dealing with my fears as a performance exercise. I do this every December to prepare myself for the new year. It's a month-long Chicano Buddhist project. So last December, my first conscious fear was the loss of my mojo, enhanced by the fact that I had just turned 51, so I decided to shave my legendary mustache. The first person to see me next morning was my neighbor, Lula. She looked at me with perplexity and said, "Ugh, looks like you just pulled down your facial underwear." Next week, my son Guillermo Emiliano came to town, and when he saw me, he said, "Dad, you've lost your Mexican mojo. You now look like a Hollywood Indian extra." I took a deep breath and moved on to another fear. I went to the biggest Taco Bell I could find. I walked in very diligently, wearing my mariachi punk outfit, and asked the Mexican lady at the counter for a grilled and stuffed burrito delight, perhaps the most hideous food ever conceived by a corporation. I asked a fellow customer to document the encounter with my cell phone, to put it on YouTube, chingao, as I ate that shapeless, monstrous blob of canned beans and mushy rice with indescribable chunks of... Took me 2 hours to finish it. It was an endurance performance piece, much harder to execute than my crucifixion project or the couple in the cage, I swear. With this under my belt, I moved on to more hardcore fears, such as geographical immobility. As a nomadic artist who tours 70% of the year, I tend to flip out when I spend too much time in one place. So I decided to spend 1 whole month confined to my hood, my travels restricted to the local liquor store, and my writings confined to bioregional issues. So I became hyper-local, and that worked out fine for a month. Finally, I faced my number 1 fear, APWFO, anal penetration of weird foreign objects. Yes, I scheduled a signodoscopy. And locos, that was cabroncísimo. You cleanse yourself for 48 hours with enemas. Then they introduce a camera through your rectum in search of cancerous polyps and alien critters of sorts. The camera is at the end of a long plastic tube the length of your colon and this thick. It's extreme body art, I tell you. But since my HMO is Kaiser, I never found out the results, which turned this final exercise into an inconsequential conceptual art piece, waiting to be canonized in the history of inconsequential conceptual art. And that's a long history. Now, did I learn anything from these exercises other than the confirmation that my fears will remain with me until the day I die? Not really. When I voiced this conclusion to my New Age friend Sarah, she told me, "Hey, GP, that's Buddhism at its core." Give me a Buddhist break, look. But Carnalitos, these days, the past goes back only as far as Madonna's Like a Prayer. And the future is a sci-fi movie shot 7 years ago. Said this, I must confess, I am tired of walking north. So pinche tired. But you are tired as well. I can see it in your gorgeous eyes. They look so tired. We're all understandably tired of living in these dangerous times, in this fucked up city of Santa Cruz, California. Yes, I hear you, man. There's no place to hide.